we're broadcasting this emergency blog. This is going to be a quick one now that Bitcoin just broke the 50,000 mark dollars.
This is Healthy Minds giving you bites and pieces of crypto news.
So what are we expecting now from the market and the rest of the altcoins? We'll also try to check the DXY or the dollar index along with the Bitcoin dominance and the crypto market cap. Let's see what to expect the following days, weeks for the crypto assets. So again, congratulations to everyone here in crypto world. Today, February 16, we just broke the 50,000 mark on Bitcoin. And right now we are playing around 49,000 plus. So what to expect now on the market? So for today, what we're going to talk about is the DXY on what's going on the rest of the market. Also, we'll be talking about the Bitcoin dominance and what will be the effect for the altcoins and its actions. We'll try to show a coin market cap, what would be, it seems like we're starting to see red again on the market when it comes to our altcoins. And here also, I'm going to share to you guys the simple analogy on what will be the characteristic of the rest of the assets every time Bitcoin make a big move. And I will just actually share this blog that I made for a while now. Here, we'll be talking about 4 scenarios on how to navigate this market. So let's start with the coin market cap. We are showing on dollars that we are around 1.5 plus trillion on our market cap. And as you can see, for the last 24 hours, most of the altcoins are in green, like Atom at $23.5. We also have Litecoins almost 3%, Polkadot at almost 9%, Cardano at 4.34%. So everyone is doing great, but now that Bitcoin's just breached the 50,000 mark, let's try to check and compare them to Bitcoin and let's see who stands out. So as you can see, we are comparing the rest of the altcoins on Bitcoin. Seems like the red ones are showing. Cardano and Polkadot are showing strength against Bitcoin, but expect that this will also either run sideways or on red if Bitcoin will continue to run on upward movement. So as you can see, we are starting to get check redness on the last hours in the rest of the altcoins. Just like I mentioned to you guys, I tried to share this blog that I made way back a couple more months ago. And here I actually share that on scenario A, when Bitcoin is on uptrend, alts may lag a bit and will try to consolidate before it will have a correction, and probably once it finds its support, that's the time that it will try to run again with Bitcoin. But as I said, scenario A, if Bitcoin is on the strength of uptrend, most probably alts will try to be a lagger. Now, for scenario B, when Bitcoin is on sideways, well, obviously we can see that altcoins are pumping. On scenario C, if Bitcoin goes down, well, expect that alts might dump harder. Finally, on scenario D, when we able to define a trend, especially on sideways and consolidation with Bitcoin, still alts will pump to the moon, as we mentioned this one. Let's try to review this and see on how we could utilize and maximize this type of scenario for us to properly navigate the market. Now, checking the DXY, as we showed you guys before, I clearly mentioned that the DXY is somehow inverse correlation with Bitcoin. If dollar index is continue to move down, we could expect that Bitcoins to further upward trend. And right now we are testing the 0.90 points on the index. If you're going to check here on the lower time frame, you will see that just bounced on the 90 points, and now we're trying to test again this support before now acting as a resistance around 90.3, 90.4. So perhaps we might even breach this up to 90.4, but expect that this will perhaps be a strong resistance that might pull the dollars in a downward action, meaning if this will continue to be a strong resistance, expect that Bitcoin will go for an uptrend. And as we mentioned before, we are expecting Bitcoin to breach around 52 to 54,000, and it might even reach the 60,000 depending on the strength of the bulls. Now, checking the Bitcoin dominance for the last hour, we could see here that it's actually pumping again, though it's been rejected at the 62 point. Now we are trying to attempt again to move up, meaning showing the strength of Bitcoin against the altcoins. So if this will continue, might perhaps that we could expect Bitcoin to reach the 62 points, 62.68 or 62.8. And if that's the case, let's see what will happen on the rest of the altcoins. But basically, this move upward might show the strength of Bitcoin. So from here, we might get another rejection, bounce from here, and if we will continue this strength on Bitcoin, we might even break the 62 points resistance on the dominance. But expect redness on the rest of the altcoins if Bitcoin will continue to move on an uptrend. Here in a daily time frame, we could clearly see that there's still a strength in the market, and we still have an upward movement. Based on my Elliott Wave count, looks like we are on the go and rise of reaching the 60,000 or 54,000 for initial target, and might actually reach our final target on around 60,000 for this upward trend. On the lower time frame, let's try to check more defined action. From here to here, we could clearly see that there's a build of resistance. And seems like we have a parallel channel continuously getting higher highs and higher lows. Just be cautious here, guys, because looks like though we are setting high priced, but on our relative strength index currently shows some bearish action here, even though we are continuing creating higher highs on our price action, but the strength is continuously goes down. So this might be a fake out from Bitcoin, and we might have a right sideways action. But what I'm expecting currently is we might do this one, probably have a test on this mid-range support. Let's try to go to the lower time frame for us to have a clearer view like this one. So let's see how strong are the bulls. If this will continue after testing this, we might have another test here, and this one, if this will continue, we might actually reach this part here and probably have another test on the previous or on this current resistance that might act as support before we continue to run up on this action. Just to have a more defined thing here, because in Fibonacci, our actually target is around the 54,000 range. But another scenario from here is this run from here. We might get a double tap, go again and test this lower parallel support before we break this resistance, and from there this might be the possible scenario. So let's be cautious, people, on how we could trade this one. But basically, it clearly shows here that Bitcoin is showing strength. So if that's the case, expect that altcoins will have a red day. So let's try to check what is the current status of Ethereum. So currently Ethereum is running on the sideways action in comparison to dollars. But if this one is compared to Bitcoin, currently shows here that Ethereum is moving downward. So we have a stronger Bitcoin as of the moment, and expect that one. Of course, the dominance will increase as Bitcoin goes up, while the rest of the alts will bleed. And hopefully it will find support on this range as the first line of support for Ethereum, around 33, 35.0, 33.035. Meanwhile, on LTC versus Bitcoin, we already see here a downward action, but in lower time frame. Yeah, currently we are testing the support around the 0.0043 Bitcoin to LTC strength. So this might be a temporary support. We are expecting that if Bitcoin will continue to go upward, this might test again this previous support down here. But as I said, if Bitcoin will run into sideways, then that will be another scenario for alts.
So feel free to subscribe and like the channel and be updated on the market. Once again, this is Healthy Minds reminding you that we're not financial advisor, so always do your own research.